Yashoda Nandana Vrajajanaran Yashoda Nandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavarind ki jai. So, today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, right? Chapter 23, Devahuti's Lamentation. And texts 17, I guess, till 19. Tatra tatra vinikshipta, tatra tatra vinikshipta, nana shilopashophitam, Nana Shilpo Pashopitam. Sorry. Shilpo Pashopitam. Mahamarkatasthalaya. Mahamarkatasthalya. Justam vidrumavedhibhi. Justam vidrumavedhibhi. Tatra tatra vinikshipta. Nana shilpo pashophitam. Mahamarkatasthalya. Justam vidrumavedhibhi. Tatra tatra vinikshipta. Nana shilpo pashobhitam. Mahamarkatasthalya. Justam vidrumavedhibhi. Tatra tatra vinikshipta. Nama shilpo pashopitam. Mahamarkatasthalya. Vistam vedrumavedhibhi. Tatra tatra vinikshipta. Nana shilpo pashopitam. Mahamarkatasthalya. Nishtavidrumavedhibhi. Mataji's. Tatra tatra vinikshipta. Nana shilpo pashobhitam. Mahamarkatasthalya. Vistam vidrumavedhibhi. Tatra tatra vinikshipta. Nana shilpo pashobhitam. Mahamarkatasthalya. Justam vidrumavedhibhi. Tatra tatra. Here and there. Vinikshipta. Placed. Nana. Various. Shilpa. By artistic engravings. Upashopitam. Extraordinarily beautiful. Mahamarkata. The great emeralds. Sthalya. With a floor. Justam. Furnished. Vidruma. Of coral. Vedibhi. With raised platforms. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Its beauty was enhanced by artistic engravings here and there on the walls. The floor was of emerald with coral dices. Purport. At the present moment, people are very proud of the architectural art. Yet floors are generally decorated with a colored cement. It appears, however, that the castle constructed by the yogic power of Kardama Muni had the floors of emeralds with coral dices. Dices like engravings also. Next verse. The palace was very beautiful with its coral thresholds at the entrances and its doors bedecked with diamonds. Gold pinnacles crowned its domes of sapphire. With the choicest rubies set in its diamond walls, it appeared as though possessed of eyes. It was furnished with the wonderful canopies and greatly valuable gates of gold. Such a nice inscription, right? Oh, Krishna. This database is not compatible with the new computers. Doesn't want to slide with the finger. I have to check it. Small thing. The purport. The artistic jewelry and decorations given in appearance of eyes are not imaginary. Even in recent times, in the Mughal emperors constructed the palaces with decorations as jeweled birds with eyes made of valuable stones. The stones have been taken away by authorities, but the decorations are still present in some of the castles constructed by Mughal empires in New Delhi. The royal palaces were built with jewels and rare stones resembling eyes, and thus at night they would give a reflective light without need of lamps. Amagyanatimmirandasya gyananjanashalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I have to ask for your special blessings since I'm replacing someone who is much more qualified than me today, but for some reason couldn't give class, and Nanda Krishna, he's giving an afternoon, so the person who empowered me is not here today. Advaita him. He's somewhere. But we could talk actually about the palaces and knowing my background of a tour guide for some places around traveling, it would be very delighted if I would have a little bit more preparation. I could tell like 6 hours in a row in a traveling bus about the places which we saw or which we coming. So I was doing that for many years, and people really like it. People really like it, although I would say most of customers, when I asked them at the last day, what do you remember of the history, they don't remember anything. It's true. Because they come, for example, in Thailand, and they go to the Croatian beach and so on. On the way there, we visit some nice places and history, and there's numbers and there's names. And I would be delighted to tell them, and they are really listening, but 5 minutes later, I forget everything. Well, we can say this is the fault of the memory. But from other side of view, as people who are, as we are, the spiritualists, we understand that the memory is given by Krishna, exactly. So the things which we are not really needing in our daily life, we tend to forget pretty fast. That's true. And therefore, people who were in a rulership of the old ages. And the Mughal dynasty, it was Middle Ages, yeah, so 14th, 15th, 16th century. I can't remember which last Mughal. This picture looks like this. Bahadur Shah Zafar. Yeah. He was the last of the Mughal dynasty. That's his picture. Pretty good one, you know. Nice man, you know, with a beard and so on. And we have to understand that many of those rulers, they understand the temporariness of their rulership. And what we know their names by, the palaces they've built, which is the most common thing of the palaces which we mention in India. Which palace, you know? Sorry? Taj Mahal, exactly. It was also built by Mughal Shah. And Taj means actually the short name for his wife. And her surname or other name was Mahal. So it was merely Taj Mahal. So in remembrance of his wife, he built a palace. So wife is definitely gone, and we would never remember her name or his name unless those palaces are built. And some of those palaces are really, really nice. It's unimaginable. If we look at those palaces, nowadays some of them are being in ruins, some of them are being maintained. One of the Mughal palaces are turned into the how to say, corporate meeting place, you know. And the people build up their tables and waitering in such ways. And some of those palaces are really beautiful. One of the palaces are like this. It's in Delhi, right? Excellent. The marbles and the decorations are actually amazing. Look at these walls here. They are all bedecked with a gold thing, you know? Gold leafed or gold thing. So the wealthiness of those people were just amazing, you know. This artwork on the walls, just unbelievable. But yeah, Taj Mahal. By the way, you remember how high was the building when Kardamoni created for his wife? How many story building was? 7, you know. Just imagine this palace is, how many stories here is? Well, probably starting from the bottom is close to that. But something like this, imagine flying around. Flying around. This is also a Mughal palace. And some of those palaces have been turned into hotels. For example, this one, you know. Some fancy cars coming up. And people staying in the cheapest room is there, 250 euros a night. You know? And it's going up to 7,000 per night. You know? Yes. One of the palaces is called, actually, how was that? Jagmandir or Jagat Mandir. It was built as a palace on the water. This is also one of the Mughal palaces. You know? Amazing. Originally it was built quite a strange way because there was some kind of disagreement between them. And some of the boys, the princes, he had to move out of the palace. So for his safety, they built the palace on the water and the lake. It's in Rajasthan somewhere. Yes. I know. Let's finish with the Taj Mahal itself. Like this, you know. Play. Sorry, it went. Oh, it disappeared.
So all the pictures,
Yeah, Krishna. Yeah, it's this one. Taj Mahal. Yeah. So these places were quite amazing, and the artistry which we have seen how they made, it is difficult to imagine how it was done. I was one of the last palaces I was in Prague, in the Czech Republic. Have you been somewhere? Who's been in Prague? You've been. You've seen the king's palace? Made of sandstone. They renovated a little bit because of the sandstone is becoming quite a bit of gray from the acid rains and so on. So in order to make it very beautiful, they sandblasted the half of the palace, and the other palace they left it like this. They black it. So you see how it was and how it, so when there's differences, you actually value it. No? If the old palaces were like Taj Mahal around here in Germany, who would go to India? No? All of them like this. Why would Krishna's princes and queens would visit something like Taj Mahal with each of their palace were much more beautiful than this one? So only in a difference you can see the thing. So Prabhupada was explaining in many times that the opulence of the Vrindavan and Vaikuntha planets are much, much more actually undescribable compared to those things which were built by kings and queens and these dynasties. Because those palaces which were built by Krishna in Dwarka were made by Vishwakarma himself. And he is a demigod architect. His knowledge is unimaginable. His own knowledge, his materials, what they brought. Indradumna Swami once gave quite a nice class, which he was explaining that when the Brajabasis, when they moved out from the dangerous place where Kamsa was supposed to attacking, they moved to Vrindavan. They were traveling the whole day and were so tired, they would just fell asleep, who in the ground, who in the rath cart, and so on and so on. And while they were sleeping, the demigods, headed by Vishwakarma, started to build up the houses. And each of the Vrindavan inhabitants got their own house. And each house had a name tag on it. So when they woke up the next morning, they saw, oh, this is my home, this is my home. And they were spent all day long going around to each of those houses and seeing, because none of them were same. Each of them were specially, customly made for that person, knowing their taste. And Krishna, of course, who else, gave that knowledge to the demigods. It is said even later on, when same Vishwakarma was building palaces for queens in Dwarka, he couldn't do it anymore. It was not as beautiful. The places in the Vrindavan was most beautiful of his creations, you know. Like in Czech Republic, in the central square, there's a famous clock, you know, the clock with the different figures coming in and out, and you know that place. And when that guy, he finished his job, you know what happened? The king, or who was the guy who was ordered, he said, it is the most beautiful thing you have done. So in order to not do anything like this anymore, any other place, his eyes were taken out. Yes? Unfortunately. So that's a payment for your good talent. You know, well, even if you get some payment, what's the use? You don't have eyes anymore. So that was an unfortunate situation of many, many big artists in the world. Well, Vishwakarma obviously skipped that thing because he created and still is creating many things. Yeah, but compared to the worldly things which we are currently seeing in the world by those things, Prabhupada quite often, Krishna, said that the opulences as such are not as important as the attitude or as the relationships which are maintained and for which they are actually meant for. Classical thing when we imagine nowadays the husband earning money for the family, and when he earns the money, he comes back home and he's so tired. Even if he's not tired, he maybe is very satisfied with his achievements, and he thinks he deserves to rest and enjoy. So this is a principle of the mature world. Work hard, enjoy. Work hard, enjoy. Bogatyaga. When you enjoy, then you are maybe sick, you need a holiday, you go away from all your job, and then you come back to your job. So when that happens, the money and maybe even the house he provides, he thinks that's it. That's his topmost duty. But what do you think the children want? When you come home, what they want to do? Play. Right? Play. Children want to play, wife want to talk. And it's like, no, I cannot talk. I've done my part. I provided you the house, I provided you food, so you just do it, It's not true. So main thing, the energy of Krishna, the palaces of Krishna, anything is meant to be a basis on interaction. Let's say we have a lunch prasadam, and it's very, very nicely made. What happens? Devotees start to talk. Yes, they have a talk. Actually, even non-devotee, if it's very good prasadam, nobody talks. That's true. So, but anything, if you have in a devotee restaurant, nice prasadam, and the people come, basis on that prasadam, you can start conversations. You can start discussing, appreciate. And this is an indirectly devotional service. If you praise prasadam, which is being offered to Krishna, so unknowingly you praise Krishna and his devotees and their service. So this is meant for the whole thing. So similarly, Devahuti also got this amazing palace. And that was basis of interaction. Well, you cannot have proper family life underneath a tree. That was normally how Kardama Muni was living as a austere devotee, as a brahmana. This is exemplary that the great brahmana like that, he could create amazing palace like this, but he didn't do that because that was not the value. For him would be extra endeavor to maintain it. You have to maintain the whole personnel who is cleaning and sweeping and so on. Maybe you need even more wives. As a Kshatriyas, when they have such a huge palace, they have more than one wives. Why? Because they have to look after the maidservants. They do all the inner business. Because he, as a king, he is going around. He's looking after his kingdom. But who is looking after the palace? The queen and the maidservants. So if you have a huge plate like this, there's extra endeavor to maintain it. So their brahmanas, they don't waste the time. They don't maintain those things. They don't want them at all, although they can do that. So therefore, Kardama was not interested at all. But that would be a little bit of a topic by itself if we don't connect the whole thing with the source. Just yesterday, I was just popped in Facebook and looked at some of the quotes, and two quotes stick in my mind. That one of the Sri Ramaswamy is a picture walking in a path, and he says, if we not really following the system or rules or prescriptions given by shastras, given by saintly persons, that means we are lost the understanding or sense of our goal. So if we are kind of negligent to our daily things which are advised by the holy people, that means we are not really understanding what they want us to achieve. We haven't bought it yet. Prabhupada at the same time also said, there's this Hare Krishna calendar, and every day there's a quote coming from Prabhupada, very nice one. And he said, if there is no pregnancy, that is fault on man's side. And then he switched interesting the way. So if you have a potency to preach, there always will be a result. So the man's principle is to go and preach and give this goal, this understanding where we are going. So that's a holy person who is preaching, who is explaining scriptures. He gives that goal. He gives the goal, and therefore, there was Prabhupada's original idea to make a magazine, which name was Back to Godhead, right? So, reminding that there is a kingdom of God which we are trying to achieve. Although, as we say here, is not much described. All the palace was beautiful, and so on. But why is the description like this? Because we are attracted to opulences. Right? Everyday arati happens here. And there could be more people, could be less people. But when there's a festival day with opulence, with abhishek, with lots of flowers and things like this, is pompous. Everybody's attracted because it's something very gorgeous, something very wealthy with opulence, Currently, we cannot so much value the things which are simple way. And Vrindavan life is simple way. Although there's descriptions that actually the Vrindavan is more opulent than even Vaikunta, but people don't value it so much. So when we look at the Krishna and so on, and the children in Vrindavan, many of them the jewel belts, How many kids around have a belt made of pearls? Real pearls. Emeralds, Emeralds? What color emerald is? Green. Very green, very nice. So, yeah. So, pearls, rubies, like this. So, you have earrings and so on. Even small Chaitanya had a jewelry, right? That was a story from Chaitanya Bhagavatam. When he was in the courtyard, just sitting and playing at a very young age. And he had a nice jewelry, actually jewelry. Not the stainless steel or metal or brass, golden, golden with jewels. So, and the two thieves came to steal him, He was sitting there and they would just snatch the boy and said, well, we're going to bring you some sweets and just wait. We are running. They took the child and already running. They were thinking, okay, I will take his necklace. And I said, no. Okay, you take necklace, but I will take the earrings and the nose ring, Okay, good. But I will take his belt, And then they were running with the small Nimai and they were thinking, talking to each other, what they're going to take. And interestingly enough, bewildered by the Maya, by illusory energy of Krishna, they were running in circles. So after a while, they were thinking, now we're coming to our apartment, and they put him down already, and it kind of thinking how to take this off, and take some sweet and so on. And then they realized they came back to the original place where the Chaitanya was taken off, and it was like, wow! And I saw the parents, and they saw and they ran away like anything. But Krishna was Krishna Chaitanya and Nitai was very happy because he got a sweet, and he had a very nice ride and a back somewhere around the whole parikrama that was there. And the parents were extremely happy because just a moment they were lost a child. There was such a huge anxiety. And they said, well, whether there's nice two people, we saw them, but who knows them and where they live? We should reward them because they brought the child back. We'll put them turban on their heads, as a thanksgiving. But Krishna said, no, I was crawling around, I just got lost, and these two nice guys, They picked me up and brought me here, and just being humble, they run away. Such a things are pastimes happening. So unless we understand those things in our position, it is a little bit difficult to switch from our simple life to simple life of Vrindavan. So we somehow have to go through this opulence. And we have to go through understanding who Krishna actually is. He is Supreme Lord. He is the source of all energies. You know? Although at the end, that is not valued so much, but it is true. Chaitanya Charitamrita says about the scriptures which are reading. Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna, the Supreme Lord and shelter of everything. In each verse, Srimad Bhagavatam, and each and every syllable, there's various meanings. Srimad Bhagavatam is as good as Krishna. It is not different from Krishna. This is described by Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Charitamrita Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of Krishna prema, or love of God. It is part of Krishna himself, for it describes confidential pastimes. So, a few days ago, Maharaj was giving class, and he was a little bit of a posing question. Who gave these strange names of the chapters? Remember? Devahudi's Lamentation. What do you think? Who gave? Prabhupada gave? Or translators gave? Editors? Bhaktivedanta Swami says the Vyasadeva himself. Oops. Himself he gave those things. That's the source I have. About Bhagavad Gita and so on. Because the thing is, when you give a description like that, the story is usually narrated by a certain purpose. So there could be chronological, and if we would try to describe Krishna's lifetime as chronological, we would have to pick places of different things from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. The first thing Krishna appears in the Srimad Bhagavatam is like, it's nothing to do with birth, something like, with Arjuna and so on, because there's a description, a little bit of a short narration of Mahabharata in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then there's something what they try to decide how to punish Ashwadhama because he killed the small children, so Krishna's appearance there. And then there's there, and then there's there. And only coming to 10th canto, then there's a full 10th canto describing Krishna's lifetime. But the deduction comes to the point that Srimad Bhagavatam gives those stories to gradually give us logical understanding, but also give some attraction to the things which are more important than opulences. You know? First of all, you give the description of kings, how wealthy you are, and if you follow Vedic system, Artha, Dharma, you follow Dharma, and then you achieve, next step, Artha, you achieve the wealth. And if there is no working in the some Shudra society, people who are not really working, that means they don't even want the wealth. Could be some people who are so lazy they don't care about wealth. Is it possible? Have you met the people who are so lazy they didn't care? I know there's a definite problem in a building of new Vedic planetarium temple in Mayapur. Because next day after salary, half of the people don't come to the work. Because they've been working for a whole month and then get the salary. So they achieve the goal. So next couple days, half of them don't even come to the work. They have their money. They have their chapatis, they have the things. And after, when the money is finished, then they again start working. That's the thing. None of them think, okay, I have to still work because I want to have a car or I want to have built my house, Devotee who lived there, not exactly in Mayapur, but in Krishnanagar, which is a place between the Mayapur and Kolkata. Yeah, he spent some time. He was a pujari in Vrindavan, actually. But then I met him working in the Govindas in London because he had a goal. He wanted to buy a house for his wife. Not as opulent as Kardamani, of course. Yeah, I think he spent something like 10,000, something like 10,000 British, how you say this, sterling, pounds, yeah, right. So in India, that's quite a bit. For that money, you can build a house, proper house. And he did it. And then after that, when the house was built, what do you think what happened? That would be German story. Indian story is a little bit more pious, She was not happy to live in the house. What happened? She took her children and came to London. Well, what's the point, having house, not having you? So it is supposed to be a proper result of acting according to religious principles. Because if you are not doing so, you still have some hope. And that's quite interesting. If you're not working under the instructions of scriptures and Krishna, then you think, if I do something better, if I do different way, then we'll achieve what I want. And this is a little bit of a demoniac mentality. What happens when devotees work? They put endeavor, and whatever comes, they're happy. If the demoniac person works and something doesn't happen, what he thinks? I didn't do it properly. I have to do it better. I have to do it different way. Then he goes to different authority of karmi businessman or family man, and he says, okay, I'll follow his principles. And then he doesn't achieve it or doesn't happy. Then you have to go, no, that was not good, man. I have to do this one. The devotee's lifestyle is different because they have already the topmost system of devotion and the proper activities. So if you work and not achieve happiness or success, what would be the conclusion? I don't deserve it. I did my best, so I got it as much as I deserve it. You don't think I have to change the way. If I served Krishna, I didn't get the house, then I don't serve Krishna. That is not the conclusion. That was not the ideas that come from. Because they understand, if you work according to the scriptures, a best way possible, and there is no satisfaction, that means the area in which I'm working, and currently we're working in material world, is not a place to achieve it. Right? Prabhupada used to say, do the best achievement, best of the bad bargain. What was the thing? Best use of bad bargain, something like this, right? So our bad bargain is somehow or another we got into the material world, whereas there is no Krishna. So if we use the best thing out of bad bargain, we have to be happy. So that's a principle which also advised by the scriptures for the woman currently, we can say an example of Devahuti herself. She was serving for quite a bit. And the main thing was serving husband. She didn't have this condition that if you provide me palace, I will serve you. But if you are not, I don't know. Maybe I have to look for some other guy. So Indian story is whatever the husband provides, the wife is happy. So the German solution is no house, no service. Indian solution is, doesn't matter, there is house or not, there's still service. So that's a Vedic culture, devotional culture. It's a difference, because we value those, as I said in the beginning, we value those Aishwarya, the opulence, more the person who provides it. So Krishna also, in many times, we look at him as our wish-fulfilling tree. Yeah, he is one who is supposed to. And actually, Krishna is never minds. He is okay. Aham bija pradapata. I am a seed-giving father for all living beings. And he doesn't just create the palace. He creates the whole universes, right? The whole universe, which we see with all sunshine and the lakes and the mountains and waterfalls and how many flowers are there? All they're created by Krishna. So we don't get bored, This is nothing compared to one flying palace. We have a whole universe, the whole things. And he doesn't even take the credit. He says, okay, just use it. I don't care. So unless we understand the value of the person who gives those opulences, we will be attached to opulence more than the person, right? It's like mosquitoes. Do they care about our interaction? Do they care what you chant japa? No, he just needs a blood. He just sticks his nose and sucks the blood, And he cannot squeeze the blood out, and then you're useless. You fly to other person. Next place. Oh, well, yeah. Because it smells good. Yeah, I understand. But if he hits up some rhinoceros, whose skin is like 5 millimeters much thicker with his nose, and he cannot do that, he will not use it. He'll go to some giraffe or some buffalo. So that's a principle which we have to learn from those stories, which coming up as an end conclusion of the story of this particular chapter, Devahuti was lamenting. She had a palace. What else, When you have these gold-digging ladies, what they do, they marry some old guys and then they divorce. And what's the point, divorcing? No. You have to get a half of his property, not just like a couple millions. You have to have a half of property. That's how the court case goes. Depends on, of course, which states of America. You can get 20% or 50%. In Arab countries, is completely different. When you divorce your husband, whatever you wear on you, that's it. So therefore, the Muslim ladies, every morning, they get up, they put all their jewelry on. So in case something happens, they are provided. It's true. It's true. That's how the Muslim ladies think, If you do something wrong and husband doesn't like you, you don't even get the kids. And that's not according to Vedic system. Vedic system means kids belong to the woman. Principle. If there is a ground and you put a seed on it, and there's a plant grows, some buckwheat, Buchweiser or something, corn, to whom it belongs? To one who put the seed, or to one who is the owner of the land? Owner of the land. Therefore, if you want to have a harvest, you have to make arrangement. I am renting, or I'm using this land for a certain time, or I'm buying. Then the harvest can belong to you. And as a payment, you can pay in money or percentage in the harvest, and so on. So the principle is, if the Krishna is giving seed, to whom belongs opulence? to us, He doesn't care. He just gives the seed, and the whole universe, the whole harvest, all the field, it belongs to us too. And only those lucky souls who meet the devotees, who are interested in the person who is the source of those things, they may get lucky and get interested in Krishna himself. And then Krishna would be quite simple. That would be a completely different story. Those coward boys, the friends, they don't care whether you are Krishna, whether you are Lord or Vishnu or an owner or creator of universes. Who cares, There was a nice story, I think I told you once already. They were playing with Krishna and different games, and usually those who lose, they have to bring the other guys on their necks around, carry as a horses, And somehow or another, there was this thing that nobody wanted to play with Krishna so much. When they choose which coward boys come to our team, the Krishna was never the first to pick it up, because when he plays, always his team loses, because he's happy to carry other ones on the neck. It's true. But one day he lost, and he was like not in a good mood, and said, "Well, I'm not going to carry." I said, "Why not?" "Well, I'm son of Nanda Maharaj." I said, "Well, whatever. I'm son of Upendra. My father is almost king too. He's also have lots of cows. So what's the difference?" No. I'm Supreme Lord. So what? Still, you have to carry. No. I'm Lord Vishnu. And then he showed his forearm form and then all universes, and then the coward boys looking. Okay, I think you got to wait today, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow you're coming back to the normal rules, like this. But still, we have to understand, to have even friendship like this, so close, you have to be in Vrindavan. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, in Vaikuntha, there is 2.5 rasas. Who can say which ones? Dasya? Madhurya and Vaikuntha. Come on. In Vaikuntha is 2.5 rasas. Shanta rasa, neutralness, appreciation. It's great, it's beautiful, it's amazing. But that amazingness doesn't create to you some kind of desire for service, for interaction. Just to make, oh, look at the dress, look, it's beautiful, But there's some garbage in the dress. You want to clean it? No. When you're a guest, there's a party in your house, right? Anyway, just party in the house. And lots of guests coming. What they do, they look at their own, wow, it has such a nice apartment you have, and this and that. When your friends come, what they do? They appreciate your house. But they do. They help out. They help out drinkings, they help out in the kitchen, they help serving, something like this. So this is the difference between Shanta, when you have just appreciation of greatness of God. And Vaikuntha has so many appreciation. So then there is a service as well. That's it. And half of friendship. Because that friendship is also mixed with the appreciation, with the Aishvarya. But when Aishvarya overwhelms it, then the friendship, that's still Vaikuntha. When the friendship is stronger than the opulence, then it's coming already to Vrindavan. So Mother Yashoda, she doesn't care so much. Okay. It's like, you are boss of a big company, right? Yeah. So 7,000 people are working under your supervision, and you come home and your mother makes the pancakes. Does she care what title you have, or what money you earn? Not really. So that's the thing. Yashoda, she may know in some certain conditions she's been reminded of the greatness, open mouth and there's a whole universe is inside, and she thinks, oh, probably I didn't digest properly. Some kind of strange visions, Okay, close your mouth. Like this. So that's the thing, when we try to follow the Krishna conscious instructions coming from Prabhupada, there will be different levels of it, and some of them will be tailored especially for the people who are not still ready to appreciate that friendshipness, that servitude attitude. Yeah, therefore you need the fancy opulence, and therefore there's a unlimited descriptions how opulent and how strong and how famous and how qualities Krishna has, but they are less important for those of having goal or living already in Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami used to say that I offer all obeisances to all the inhabitants in Vrindavan who live there physically, like really, or by meditation, who are present there in meditation. So you sometimes stay in Vrindavan and you don't see much devotees. But many ISKCON devotees are there in his thoughts. So we offer obeisance to them too. So maybe in the class we don't have much people today here, but definitely there's online watchers or who think in the minds, oh, it would be nice to be in a class. Right? So we thank them too for being mentally here at least. So, and we encourage everybody not to forget our ultimate goal of going back to Krishna's Vrindavan abode, and understanding all the rules and regulations and things like service are meant to be as a supplementary thing which brings us there. Well, I didn't mean like service as such, but service which you do here, because could be the service we're doing in Vrindavan different from what you do here. Although ghee weeks for the definitely is happening in Vrindavan too. Krishna has been offered lamps everywhere. This is the classical tradition. And Yashoda in the mornings, she was chanting mantras and offering all the proper incense. And gopis, when they worship Krishna in Surya Kund in the midday, they also do the whole thing, ghee wicks and flowers and incense and everything. So these activities which are done directly of serving Krishna, they are not different. They are same. Although we are now performing them with the material bodies, but the activity and paraphernalia which is described by Prabhupada, by Narada Muni and Pancharatra and so on, they're the same. Before that, when we engage some activities which are not compatible, you can connect in the consciousness. And it's true. Consciousness is more important. You can do any activity and think of Krishna at that time. You can chant his names at that time. But if you choose activity which is in tamaguna a little bit, I would say, it's more difficult to do it. More difficult. When you have a Rajaguna who's better and Sattvaguna is the best. It's not utmost, not topmost, but still it's the best. It's a bargain of the bad deal. So therefore we engage our things which we have currently, our material bodies, in service in such a way, as Prabhupada explains, it gets spiritualized in same ways as the metal rod, metal stick put in a fire completely becomes as a quality as a fire. So although we can say how it's possible, there's material and spiritual, how the transition happens. The decision happens because of grace, the mercy of Chaitanya, because of the grace and mercy of Prabhupada. How he explains that engaging our current situation, even current material desires, in favor of Krishna, can be purified. And first of all, consciousness gets purified, and gradually our activities too. And finally, Krishna reveals himself as he revealed himself to the Brahma. I think Prabhu also mentioned the story about the different Brahmas who came to Krishna once, right? One Brahma came to the Krishna in Dwarka, and he said, "Well, I have some important business to do. Can you announce that Brahma came to him?" He said, "Yeah, sure." And gatekeeper, the doorkeeper, he announced, "Yeah, Brahma came." And Krishna said, "Which Brahma? Which Brahma come?" Of course he knew, but just to give a small lesson, and Brahma was asked, "Which Brahma?" Well, what do you mean, which Brahma? The Brahma, the creator, the father of 4 Kumaras with the 4 heads, what do you mean, which Brahma? And he said, okay, come. And he stated his business and so on. He has some important things to do, but he said, before that, can you say me, why do you ask which Brahma? And many more Brahmas, And he said, sure. I can tell you later, but let's talk what you had to talk. Meanwhile, he asked all the Brahmas visit him. And that's the amazing part. And all the Brahmas from other universes, came to him. None of them saw each other. They saw just me and Brahma. Brahma and Krishna, I mean. Yeah. Only that 4-headed Brahma could see all the other Brahmas sitting in. And he was thinking that all they came to the Dwarka, to his universe, So this is Achintya Shakti, unbelievable potency of Krishna. So he's able to reveal himself any moment to any of us, same he did as a Brahma. The question is, are we willing to do that? Are we willing to come to him and say, I want to see you? Do we want to see him? Sure. Why not? Well, it could be nice. I really want to see him. So the lauliam, the desire to achieve the goal is the token, is the payment which is only needed to achieve that goal. So therefore, it's Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, lauliam, the desire, the anxiousness to achieve Krishna's presence and be able to serve him directly. It's the only need which, if achieved by the blessings of Prabhupada, other pure devotees, can bring us to the ultimate result of Krishna consciousness. Thank you so much. Maybe some questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
So I thought that you need to love to reach Vaikuntha, love for God. And so the question is, how do you get liberation in Shanta Rasa?
Well, first of all, we have to understand what do you mean by liberation. Even understanding you are not material body, you are a spirit soul, you can say this is already liberation. Liberation means being free from something. And that is usually kind of a half of a deal, I want to get out after the class finishes. I will go out from temple room. Is it true? But which direction you will go? You can go from that door, that door, that door, that door, where we want to go. So getting out of material world means not identifying with material world. That means actually understanding that there is no material world as such, from point of view of material being separate or not connected to Krishna. So when you come to understanding that you are getting out of anything is material as a matter of things which are made by itself and there's nothing to do with Krishna. So that's liberation when you understand that everything is connected to Krishna. Even material energy is connected to Krishna. It is his energy. So that's liberation. But it's not enough. Because if you actually understand the matter, you become amazed. First of all, you have a kind of little bit of a sattvic consciousness to understand how these things happen, how these things going on. If you just dig in one small computer here, it will take you days and weeks to understand it and appreciate how it's working. All days to perform these activities will take one huge computer like 3 months to calculate the same thing what this computer does in half a second. It's amazing. And then you put the smallest card, which is memory card, you put all Prabhupada's books there. And all these MP3 classes, they're all in a small memory card, How is that possible? You're amazed how this energy is working and how it's expanding and how this... You become amazed. And you can become in Shantarasa, not even leaving material world. Because you get just absorbed, completely mesmerized how the energy working. Just amazing. But that will give you this position of the out of temple. So, sorry, for example, out of room, but are you going to come to temple or you're sitting in the corridor? In that thing. I will leave it. I will go out of it, but you can go to bookkeeping, you can go to the toilet, you can go downstairs. Which direction you go? Will you go to the temple? Liberation from that room doesn't give you 100% direction to the temple. You can go downstairs. So liberation from material world doesn't provide you with the service. So knowledge of material world, knowledge of Krishna's energies can give you liberation. And actually it said, knowledge can liberate you. But as more as it is knowledge, the holy name can liberate you. But not every holy name. Well, holy name as such is always holy name, but not every chanting of the holy name. So if you chant with offenses, it will not bring you out of material world even. It will go slowly, like iron. When you iron the cloth, it's just barely warm, And you can iron for hours, and it doesn't work, doesn't happen. It still is some folds there. But you have a hot iron, and you just put some water straight away. So how much you're fired up to be in the spiritual world will provide you that energy to reach that more, some activity, appreciation of the Krishna's energies gives you this shanta. And that gives a marginal region between material and spiritual. You can say Vaikuntha, because if you understand that everything is connected to Krishna, you're out of material world. You're not in the spiritual, not in material world anymore. You're out of it. So therefore, if you understand everything works under the Krishna's protection and influence, what to worry? Because he's a good guy. You don't have personal relationships. Like if you trust the president, of the country, and he actually is in charge of everything, it's pretty cool. If you go to some Burma or Cambodia where all the guys are really corrupt and really for money or just for war, I'm not sure you're going to live there because there's no safety, But if you live in Germany, you trust the president and he's really in top of his duties and everything, you don't have worries. So not being worried, feeling protected, it is Vaikuntha, no worries anymore. Because you understand, This is not big potato field where the biggest pig is getting more potatoes, You can be small pig and you still get your potato. You can be a spider and bring some small sand and still Rama will be happy with you, like building a bridge. So not the biggest thing, you don't have to be cheating. You just, whatever you need, you will get it. That's Vaikuntha. It's already happiness. It's already no worries. And everything comes to you as a kind of problem. You say, okay, that's my previous karma, something like, and still I get it less than I deserve. So that's already Vaikuntha. So, but that doesn't mean you start service. You just appreciate. Yeah, it's cool. It's nice. I feel protected. But I just do what I did before. But I feel already nice. So that's already like first step into the spiritual world. But to get that attitude of service and deep and intimate service and even being able to reprimand Krishna, and as gopis just jump off the bridge, and Krishna has to jump off a bridge. Nothing to do. Yeah, because he wants to keep the gopis happy. So that thing you have to catch and you have to absorb from other devotees. So that knowledge of the energy is not enough. That's how you achieve. So sadhu sangha is always there. If you have sadhu sangha here, you need them for purification, for knowledge. And you go to spiritual world, it's again sadhu sangha. It's again saintly persons. So sadhu sangha is the one which will bring you from material world and also keep busy and happy and engaged in the spiritual world. So therefore, this is the only way to progress spiritually is by sadhu sangha, by association of devotees. In the beginning, we appreciate normal devotees, and when we are particularly already heading towards Krishna's pastimes, we choose one, two, or particularly one person who you think he will drag you out from the material world and spiritual world. So then, when initiation, then the Diksha happens, then you are kind of commit yourself. Okay, I'm on this path. I don't want to leave it. There will be some problems, of course, but I'll stick to this path. So this is a promise you give yourself and to the Vaishnavas, and then Krishna sees, oh yeah, he's serious. That's in short. Haribo. Okay, 5 miles. Too much already? Thank you so much. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Go.